Hello everybody, let's have a look at some of these coins. I'm not a financial advisor, it's not financial advice, and we'll just look at Bitcoin, EOS and Ethereum on this video, and I'll make some other videos for some of the smaller coins. Right then, so it's pretty much the same story that I've been following now for a while, which was all the way back here when we saw this one pull down here, which is that we're in a bearish trend now, and we're continuing that bearish trend. Now, yeah, we are definitely bearish, there's no question about that, but it doesn't mean that we can't come up to test this area, which is something that we've been waiting for. It's not yet been tested, but I do think it's on the cards, which is 8,700. That area would probably be rejected from there, and then we can start shorting it on the way back down. But inevitably, I believe this is likely to break beneath the 8,000 area once again, and back further than where we've fallen before, which is where we've been wicking into this area, which is 7,770. So that's basically what we're waiting for. We're waiting for a big push up to this level here, and a breakdown which will take us lower than our previous low, which is this wick here, which is our lowest one, is 7,770. And then when that breaks down, then we're probably going to be looking to go to the low 7,000s, about 7,250 before another bounce of our support area. Let me just double check that area. There'll be a few steps, I think. Yeah, 7,600 and then 7,250. There'll be the areas of perhaps maybe thinking to place a long on. And if you've not watched my videos before, I'll just show you a little something. So here we are on the weekly, and not anything special when you look at it on the weekly. We are actually at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, which suggests that we shouldn't be falling any further than that. But you know, as we've seen, we can break right outside the Bollinger Band very dramatically, as we saw on the way up, and I do believe that the same could apply on the way down. I would be looking to have this area tested here, which is currently 6,700, and that would be my area for a decent long position. And you put on the Ichimoku cloud, and you can see that this is where the support cloud would be here as well. So a big wick down into this area to be then bought straight back up again, and probably, you know, maybe we could talk about a continuation at that point if we were to break down this low. But what we would probably see would be almost the complete reverse of something like this. We would see a giant wick all the way down to this area, and without a candle body close, probably the candle body being absorbed back right up into the Bollinger Band pretty quickly, maybe within a day or two. Anyway, moving on just very briefly, we've got EOS here. EOS is one of those, first of all, when we're looking at these on the daily, what we see is they're almost identical. Even with Bitcoin, we go to Bitcoin on a daily, everything's looking, I'll turn this itchy cloud off, but everything looks pretty much the same with these guys. The only difference is that when there are moves being made, it appears that the altcoins, such as EOS specifically, is making larger moves up and larger moves down. So, you know, for trading purposes, I like to trade EOS, you know, with my margin account more than I would do with Bitcoin, basically, because it's as predictable and more profitable, which is something that I clearly enjoy, you know. So looking at EOS, first of all, what we're seeing is pretty much the same. We're looking for it to be snaking around, moving up, moving down, but probably our area of significant resistance is already being tested here around about, well, it's not been reached yet, but $3.20 would probably be a significant rejection point for EOS. As of support, you know, we're wicking down into these areas here of this is the lowest we came down, we were bought straight back up again. But if Bitcoin crumbles, which it will do, EOS will also crumble, and it will crumble enormously, and I expect to be finding ourselves perhaps maybe lower than $2, perhaps maybe lower than $2. It's no guarantee, but we could find ourselves lower than $2 on this one. So it's a difficult one to trade, you know, unless you catch it at the right moments, and the right moments are probably in the favour of the bears. So rather than buying longs, you really want to be thinking of buying shorts at top areas, rather than buying bottom areas and longing them back up, because the inevitable fall, the inevitable plummet will probably be much more aggressive than anything to the up. So you can trade up and down, obviously, with very tight stop losses, but you're more likely to gain more from a short from a high entry point than you are, you know, from a long at a low entry point at this point in the market. I mean, obviously things will turn around eventually for all coins, but at the moment we're still trending with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, I believe, to be trending to the downside. Ethereum, exactly the same. In fact, Ethereum it might as well be Bitcoin at the moment. It's doing exactly the same thing. Again, we're snaking around in this area just with EOS, and Bitcoin are doing exactly the same thing, not expecting it to do anything other than exactly the same that Bitcoin's doing, and it's not a massive gainer. So really, if you're looking to trade anything, you might as well trade Bitcoin because it's a lot more predictable. The entry points and exit points are a lot more clearer and obvious. However, when it comes to Ethereum, generally speaking, I think Ethereum's likely to do very well into the next year. So keeping a close eye on it and finding perhaps maybe where a bottom might be could be a very good idea, because it's likely to make significant gains into 2020. That's something that I'm personally quite vested in getting into Ethereum at a very decent level. But for the moment, I'm doing exactly the same as I would do with EOS, shorting it at high points, selling it when it gets to sort of relatively low areas. Not really wanting to take more than about 3% gain, because, like I say, at this moment we're up and down all over the place, and it's not really very tradable. What we really want to do is we want to catch a top area, catch it down into that big plummet down, and then sit and wait and assess the situation. So again, we'll just quickly recap on the Bitcoin. So Bitcoin wants to come down, even though it's likely to come back up in the short term, and it's at this level here that I would certainly be looking to place relatively high leveraged short on, and looking to sail that down to perhaps 7,600 to start with, and then I would expect to see it 7,200. And we'll just put this on just very briefly. We had this cross up here, which we spotted before this inevitable collapse. So well done for all of you that sort of watched that video or did the analysis yourself. That is a very good sign of a big sell-off, and that big sell-off we have had, and now I do expect a little more continuation with that. We'll have a look at the itchy cloud on EOS to see if we have anything similar on that, and yeah, we have a cross here, so that would suggest a sell-off will take place very soon, relatively soon, with EOS, meaning I do expect it to be lower than $2 at some point. And we'll have a look at Ethereum just for a laugh to see what happened with Ethereum. Ethereum also has had its cross, even though it's not that steep. It has had its cross, so I am expecting big pullbacks again with Ethereum. As for a target of where that's likely to go, it's difficult to say. I will probably say to start with around about $140. And maybe a continuation to around $120, but we'll have to wait and see. But like I say, they've all had their crosses, so we've all got fair warning as to what's going to happen. It's not like this is going to come as any big surprise. We've been told by the technical analysis that we're staring at right now. Everything is in place for another sell-off, and it's not going to look very nice when it happens. Bitcoin's already had its sell-off, and now it's continuing. Look, it would appear to me that all alts are going to be having exactly the same sell-off in the short but very near future. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice day, and take it easy.